Alright guys, aftermath video number 1 on the Monte Carlo that we built. Ran it yesterday in Woodstock in the stock compact class. I'd say it went well. I finished midway through the pack or so, but it was a successful run. No stupid brakes or anything like that. The car is not junked. I actually ended up parking in the trunk of a Camry and took us both out. We both got stuck. For the most part, I ran a pretty calm heat, which is, for me, it was a pretty calm heat. I was able to keep my head on straight and not send it too hard. You know, took it easy on the nose shots, stuff like that. And sometimes your foot just gets the better of you, and you pay the price. But that's the way it goes. So let's have a look around this thing. Actually, while I was in the pits, Matt from Last Matt Standing, check him out on Facebook. He was waiting to paint the car that I was putting a GoPro in. And since I was in his way, he decided he was going to go paint my car. Just because that's what Matt's like. So shout out to him. Thanks a lot for that. Threw some numbers on there. How is it looking here? We parked the trailer in the shop yesterday and I have done nothing with this thing. It's still chained down. We barely looked at it. So back here, it took some damage. It's not awful. With a chain to the trailer, we should be able to kind of jack this up, get this going a bit better, but it stayed out the tires, still got air in all the tires. Do have a kink, some sort of a kink in the suspension here. That back wheel is a little crooked. Everything stayed up off the ground. So you can't really complain. I actually found some surprises when I was working on this trunk doing my notches. And I was pretty worried about the back end of this thing. I tried to keep the back end as clean as possible out there because I was worried about it. But it did okay. This side, a lot less damage. A lot straighter. Bit of a bulge starting up here, but nothing too bad. Let's get to the front end here. So I am seeing some damage up here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here yet, but my this rail is actually starting to head downward. From what I can see, it looks like the sub is still straight, but it looks like we've turned here and it's actually starting to head downwards. We're gonna have a look at that, see what's going on, and get that jacked back up. Struts, wheels, they're straight on this side up here. Everything's good. Other side, same thing. Looks to me like the subframe is straight, but it's actually starting to kink. It's starting to kink up the opposite way. Not too bad. Should be able to get that plated fixed before it does too much more. The only damage I really took up front is this wheel's laid over a little bit. So after I parked in the trunk of that guy and we were stuck, I waved another car in for help to give me a shot to get us unhooked. So he was nice enough to come in and put a giant wheel shot on me to help me out. It didn't help out at all, and all it did is lay this strut over, but give him an E for effort, I guess. Car ran good. Ran really good. When I was hung with the guy, all of a sudden I got into a bit of a sputter. I don't know what that was about. I was running fine and it started stuttering and sputtering, but I mean, I got the loader to unhook us at the end and I drove off track and it ran fine. So I'm probably going to give this thing a good shakedown run. Just see what that's all about. It kind of brings back flashbacks. I had a Gremlin fuel pump that gave me trouble a couple years ago, and it would flare up every once in a while, and it cost me a few derbies, just stupid things, and it took me a long time to catch what was going on. There was a little bit of some sort of a spray coming out of the back of the motor. I haven't looked too deep into it, but there's kind of a lot of oil and stuff laying on top of the motor, so I'm not exactly sure what I blew back there, but I'm going to find out what that is. And as far as the sputter, I don't know if I was sucking in steam. I didn't really see a lot of steam, so I don't know what that is yet. It's a little concerning, but I will figure it out. Little disappointed in the in-car footage of this car. I messing around with the GoPro in the shop doing the build videos. I had the zoomed in, so I didn't get a nice wide angle in the cars. I was really disappointed. This one and the other in-car that I have up. I like a nice wide angle shot. You can see what's going on around you, but it happens sometimes. Oh, one last thing I noticed. So I actually got, it's hard to see. The frame rail is actually starting to kick inward a little bit. So this crusty old bumper did decide to give way in the center. So I don't know. Yeah, it's flattened. It's flattened right out down here. Probably should cut that off and change that. Otherwise, it's just going to keep doing damage to those rails. We'll have to see what we're going to throw on this, but we'll be changing that bumper probably. So we got a busy week ahead of us. I got to fix this car up, and we'll be running it next weekend hopefully. And same with the Torrent. Plan is to run it next weekend, and it's got a short list of things to do. Got to put a door plate on there, do my door patches on the driver's side. There's a few other minor things, but they all add up. Stuff like that. It's not aluminum, but it's pretty damn close. Yeah, I think that's about gonna do it for this one. Really isn't a whole lot else to show. I mean, it went well. For not winning it went well, right? There's a lot of good drivers out on that track. That was a good heat. I mean, hey, it could have been anybody's out there. So, alrighty. If there's anything to show while I repair it, I'll show it. Otherwise, I guess we'll see you next weekend.